Good morning. Here I am in Javea in Spain. I treated myself and decided that I wanted to be in a different place for my birthday this year and to spend time with my mother, who's in her 80s. So while I woke up this morning and I woke up to this beautiful place, it's a lovely view here right over the sea. And my mum's had this property here for about 40 years. Originally it was just a little finca on the hillside. And she's a brave soul, my mum. She came out here with 32 grand that she'd inherited from her mum. And at that time very few people were buying properties abroad. And she grew up in South Africa and loves the outdoors and loves the sunshine. And she grew up with bougainvillea, red hot, pokers, all of these kinds of plants, fig trees. And when she came to Spain, it reminded her quite a lot of South Africa. So she bought this place perched on the hillside, Portitxol Javea, overlooking the sea. And at that time it was very unspoilt. Now there's amazing buildings all sort of cut into the hillside, but not really done very sympathetically. So there's oligarchs' houses here that resemble a bit more like hotels. So you get the feeling really that it's a piece of paradise and everybody wants a slice of it. So if you imagine paradise like a cake and everybody wants a slice of it. So I think this is kind of the irony of what's happening to a lot of places around the world, that in a way that they become victims of how beautiful they are. You know, how in our hearts somehow we all want this kind of utopian place that we can escape to. But my thoughts this morning went on to thinking, well, how about if we woke up in the morning and we woke up to utopia, Ananda. There are many names for that place. Imagine if we woke up to that in our hearts every morning and we didn't need that physical paradise around us. And it does seem to me that this is a little bit linked with what's going on in Glastonbury, that in a way these really, really beautiful or spiritual places become so popular that they change. I noticed with St Nectan's Glen down in Cornwall, that changed beyond recognition once somebody made a TV programme about it and then brought everybody's awareness as to what it was exactly and how magical it was. And now you get this, it's completely overrun with people as a iron turnstile, and the feeling, the magical fairy feeling, is completely gone. And I did notice even on Beltane, the day that I did leave Glastonbury, Beltane's become absolutely huge, an almost international event. And I noticed online this morning somebody saying how they didn't find it was very family friendly because basically people were sort of standing in front of them and there was a lot of hustling and a lot of not a good energy, basically, that it just felt really off the whole thing. And I used to go to it many years ago when it had a really light, bright, beautiful feeling. And when I went last year, I felt it had just become, the energy of it had felt a bit dark for me. And Beltane, it's when my birthday is, and Beltane for me should be all about the start of spring, you know, the green man returning, and, you know, finally the end of winter. So it didn't really encapsulate that for me. So it was interesting to see some things online this morning saying that. And my fear is that, you know, the magic of Glastonbury, and we can kind of see it a little bit with the front of the Abbey. The magic of Glastonbury is slowly being eroded, is slowly changing. We can see with the 2 million that's been spent on the plaza at Glastonbury Abbey, you know, how it's becoming corporatized, it's changing. It was a little quirky town when I moved there in 2006, and it really did attract some quite interesting misfits, some true misfits, and it didn't feel quite so, what's the word, hedonistic was maybe the word, perhaps narcissistic. Feels a bit more like it's been infiltrated with more of a sort of narcissistic vibe. And, you know, apologies to any of you lovely people who do live there. I mean, I do live there too, and there are some really wonderful, magical people there too. But I'm just feeling like the nature of the town has changed quite a lot. And I'm just kind of feeling like, you know, is this how man kind of like honours the planet that he's living on, kind of monetizes it, turns it into properties, turns it into monetary value rather than beauty, rather than, you know, just the well-being of the feeling of the people at the place, the well-being of the actual flora, fauna, you know, the symbiosis going on there, and honouring the balance of that. Instead, it does seem like corporate greed does seem to come into play. Anyhow, on a positive note, there are always solutions to everything. I've been watching a very interesting channel, and please have a look if you can. The name of the man, he calls himself the functioning melancholic. And I think he's like a breath of fresh air to me, because his honesty, his frankness, and the way that he just sums things up so well is just incredible. So I will, in the comments, put a little link to his channel, because I'm actually finding him like a breath of fresh air, and also helping me become a bit more authentic in some of my videos too, because, you know, I'm not going to worry too much about how I look or the setting and things like that. I remember I was on Alexander Quinn and I was putting the plants all around me to make it look really nice, but at the end of the day it's not really about how it looks, is it? It's about content. We live in a world that's so much about how things look, and not so much about the depth of content. So anyhow, so I'm very thankful to a functioning melancholic for, I don't know, his kind of input into my life the last week or so since I've really been watching his videos. Also, I want to give a shout out to Mark Mays and Tasha, who are going to be starting this Misfit consortium, which is quite an exciting thing. Again, I will put some kind of link to the email address if you do want to join that. And I think it's a place where people can download their videos and things, and it's a place where we come together as a community of video makers, YouTubers, and that's also a really lovely idea. Although I am quite into the idea of community offline as well. I think everything is a balance. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope I wasn't too gloom and doom, but just some thoughts that were sort of like floating over me a bit like clouds this morning. You take care. Have a lovely day. Greetings from Spain. Bye for now.